Welcome to Cord Cutting Today for July 5th, 2019. This is the show where I give you a quick look at some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting in about the last 24 hours. Now, this is my opinions on them and the news of what's happening. If you want to learn more about these stories, come up with your own opinions. Check out the show notes down below. I'll put a link to each story we talk about so you can read about them for yourself, come up with your own opinions. We'll really appreciate your feedback. If you're new here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. I'll really appreciate it because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we're doing here. Hopefully we can help you break free from the high cost of cable TV. Well, let's dive into it, but first, real quick, hey, I hope you all have a fantastic 4th of July. We saw some fireworks, took my daughter to a little carnival. Even if you had to work, I worked on the 4th. I hope you still had a relaxing day. So I'd love to hear from everybody what they did. So what did you do on the 4th of July? Leave us a comment down below. Let us know. I'll love to hear. But let's dive into the deals. One deal I want to throw out there again, it's still live. I don't know if this deal will be here next week or if this is a week-long deal or if this deal will go until Prime Day. But the Amazon Fire TV Recast DVR, which is a pretty good Fire TV DVR that is on sale at a new all-time low price. You can get it starting at $129.99, and it includes I believe 500 gigabytes of internal storage. The terabyte is $179.99. Somebody correct me. Off the top of my head, I want to say it was 500. Somebody's going to say I'm wrong on that. But $129.99 for a DVR with no monthly subscription and the ability to add an external hard drive to expand its memory is a really good deal. The only downside here is it does not work on many devices. It's primarily meant to work on mobile devices and your Fire TV. If you have a Roku, an Apple TV, this DVR won't work for you on that. But this is a good price DVR if you use the Fire TVs in your home. I'll put a link to it in the show notes down below. And again, I don't know if this is going to run to Prime Day or if this is one of their week-long sales that will end this weekend. So if you really do want it, I would take advantage of it now. All right, first story of the day, ESPN Plus, which is ESPN streaming service, which targets more sports fans than it does really target cord cutters. It targets cable subscribers and cord cutters kind of equally because the content airing on ESPN Plus does not air on ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, etc. While ESPN's been adding a lot of content to it to make it, honestly worth $5 a month to a sports fan, but they've struck a deal with the AAC conference to add their most of their basketball games and a significant number of football games from the AAC to ESPN Plus this year. Now, you will still see some games on ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPNU like you saw in the past from the AAC. Now, though, many of the games that used to air on ESPN3 are being moved to ESPN Plus there. Now, they do have a deal, I believe, with CBS Sports. That deal for that number of content there will remain. The real selling point here, if you're an AAC fan, is it includes a lot more content like volleyball and other sports, which may not have always been televised in the past, will now appear on ESPN Plus, which is a pretty good deal there if you happen to be a hardcore fan of ESPN or of AAC, not ACC, not the Atlantic Coast, it's the AAC conference, which includes a number of great teams. So check that out. ESPN struck this deal earlier this year, kind of slipped through the cracks on us, so I wanted to bring it to the attention of all our readers. I'd love to know what you think, though. Do you use ESPN Plus? Do you enjoy it? I've actually been a subscriber of ESPN Plus. I'm a huge football fan, and I've actually been very impressed with the number of games and content available on it. All right, next story up of the day. Netflix and Amazon, no surprise, are dominating cord cutting, but Hulu is catching up. So we asked 3,000 of our readers, what devices and services and things do you use? And what may not really surprise you is Netflix and Amazon are dominating the market. What may surprise you is to see that Hulu is skyrocketing pretty fast, relatively, in their growth. Hulu is now the third largest service that cord cutters use. Actually, according to our readers, it gets used more than YouTube now for streaming. So it's pretty cool to see Hulu growing. It'll be very interesting to see if Hulu's growth continues now that they have new ownership of Disney being the majority control of Hulu and running the day-to-day business of Hulu. But one of the things I did find interesting is Amazon is slightly extending their lead above Netflix with cord cutters. Amazon has 73.3% of our readers. Netflix has 70.1%. Not a big difference there. Just in, or right about, I should say, the error of margin, or margin of error, I should say, on this. So I'll be very interested to hear, do you subscribe to Amazon over Netflix? I wonder if the fact that Amazon offers so many other things, the free 2-day shipping, music, all kinds of stuff, is helping them grow their video service. And honestly, I think Amazon views growing their video service as a way to help with growing the rest of their business. But I'll be very interested to hear, have you subscribed to Hulu in the last year? Seems like a lot more of our readers have. If so, why? Do you like it? Do you like it more? Have you dropped Netflix or Amazon in favor of Hulu? Also, are you subscribing to Amazon but not Netflix? I'd love to hear from you, and why. I find most cord cutters subscribe to 2 or more of these on average, is what we saw in the study. Is a lot of people had both Amazon and Netflix. A lot of people had Hulu and Netflix, or Hulu and Amazon, for example. So I'd love to know too, do you have just one of these? Do you have all 3? Do you rotate them? Which is something I would encourage most cord cutters to consider, is the idea that, hey, I could, Handmaid's Tale comes out, I could binge watch on that till the Handmaid's Tale is done, watch everything on Hulu, switch over to Netflix, binge watch on Netflix until Stranger Things is done, for example, and then switch over to something else. So, love to know what your subscription pattern looks like with this story. Next story up is just a real quick reminder. One of the main questions we get is, hey, I have buffering, the video stutters, and more. We posted a video yesterday on our channel about how to address that, and I did a full write-up today. So if you've been struggling with buffering on your Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV, check out the show notes down below. I have a link to our post, which includes the video I did, talking about 4 ways really where you could break down what's causing your buffering and how to fix it. And I find most buffering is actually caused by inside your home, inside your network. Not to say that there are not other times where there is a buffering issue that's caused by maybe your ISP or an issue of the service. That happens. But the majority of the time, it's actually something you can fix and address. So I'll put a link in the show notes down there if you are struggling with buffering. All right, last 2 stories. AT&T had a busy day yesterday. First off, right off the bat, AT&T's dropped Nexstar-owned stations, or a vast majority of them. Somebody told us that their Nexstar is still on AT&T's DirecTV Now. I would love to hear from you. AT&T did supply us a statement, and so did Nexstar, and both basically said that they've removed all the stations. Now, if there's one that's still live, I'd love to hear from you. What station Nexstar owned is on DirecTV Now, DirecTV, or Uverse? Leave us a comment, let me know. But these are typical negotiations where Nexstar wants more money. AT&T says they're not willing to pay more money for the Nexstar content. So for now, the stations are dark on DirecTV Now. And this is not exclusive to DirecTV Now. Uverse TV and DirecTV has lost them. So hopefully they get re-added soon. These type of blackouts are very, very common, but it's always painful if you're somebody who is affected by them. The good news is if you live in one of the major cities that Lowcast supports, you could always use Lowcast. And it goes back to one more reason why I say an antenna is a very important part of cord cutting, so that when things like this happen, who cares if DirecTV dropped it, because I have that antenna as a backup to watch my local TV station. So any questions on that, let me know. And again, if your Nexstar is still live on DirecTV, leave me a comment. Let me know what's the call letters and what the city it is in is. So I'd love to hear from you. I'm also interested, one of the things I haven't got an answer to is there are some Nexstar run stations which are not owned by Nexstar. That could make a difference there, where maybe those are the ones that people are saying, hey, I have a Nexstar station that's still live. Nexstar does manage some stations that they don't fully own. And that could be what we're seeing. All right, last news story of the day. AT&T's new DirecTV, not DirecTV Now, the DirecTV satellite streaming service will reportedly be called AT&T TV and have a soft launch in August with a full launch in the 4th quarter of 2019. So we've heard for a while now that AT&T was planning to build a new live TV streaming service that would be based off of the DirecTV satellite packages and service, and will be designed to take DirecTV customers, move them to streaming, because DirecTV is a relatively expensive service for them to run. You have to put the satellites in space. Every time an install happens, they have to drive a truck to your home, pay somebody to climb on your roof, install all kinds of gear, pay him hourly, pay for the equipment, and more. Plus, even if you don't have an install happening, there's still someone sitting somewhere waiting for an install. So AT&T has been very clear that they want to move to streaming. They have announced that they are not launching any more satellites into space. We are still many years before the satellites in space now for DirecTV wear out, but they said when they do, we're not replacing them. Well, now, according to what appears to be internal documents posted online from somebody who appears to be an AT&T employee, gives us an insight into this new service. Now, this has been confirmed that it's happening by multiple executives within AT&T, including the CEO of AT&T, who has talked about their desire to go a streaming-only method versus a satellite version. But this new service will launch in August in a handful of markets to be tested. It will be using the Osprey box at DirecTV Now and DirecTV box, which from day one I said was a beta test. Later confirmed by the president of AT&T Mobility and Entertainment that that box being tested by DirecTV customers is a beta test for the new DirecTV Streaming, now called ATT TV, coming out later this year. According to the internal documents, this new service will require that box, and you'll be able to drive out to your local AT&T store, pick up this set-top box, take it home, plug it into the internet, and have TV. No need to drive a customer out to your home or a truck out to your home to set it up at a customer's home. One interesting thing that they did talk about in the slides is AT&T's Uverse TV service will no longer be sold to new customers at the time that this starts rolling out, which is well in line with what AT&T's been doing. They've been severely downplaying Uverse TV. As far back as 2016, we found news stories talking about how AT&T was downplaying it. As far back as 2017, there's been news stories from major companies talking about how AT&T intended to eliminate Uverse TV and move everybody to either DirecTV or a streaming version of it. So it seems pretty clear, or I should say, it looks very likely that this is truthful compared to going up with stuff that I've known separately. So the sources I've had do correlate with what is being said in these slides, and does allow me to say it looks like this is likely to be true internal documents from AT&T that will go there. These were posted publicly online. We have a link to them in our story down below if you want to see them for yourself and see what you think of them for yourself. But I'd love to know what you think of these. What do you think of AT&T's plans here to launch an AT&T TV service? To not use the DirecTV Now name, not use the DirecTV Now name. This is a separate service from DirecTV Now, but according to reports we've heard, is it will be built on the structure of DirecTV Now. The app, the interface, and all that will be basically DirecTV Now, but the packages will be different. The only question I really have at this point is, will there be a contract? Will this be like DirecTV Satellite, where you need a contract in order to use this AT&T TV streaming service? This is much more like maybe Uverse TV streamed over their networks versus a traditional cable. But at the same time, it sounds like they want this to be more like a traditional cable TV package and cable TV service, just streamed online versus having a dish that picks it up and does it that way. So I'd love to know what you think of this, what you think of these deals. This is all reportedly happening according to documents posted online by somebody who appears to be an AT&T employee. But it does line up very nicely with my sources who have told me similar things off the record in the past. But now there's public data out there that lines up very well with what we're seeing at this moment. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this. Would you sign up for this? This may bring in the whole question of what is cord cutting. Just because it's streaming online, I've always said, does not necessarily make it a cord cutting service. ESPN Plus is a great example of this. All the content in ESPN Plus is not available on cable. It's equally targeting cable customers as well as cord cutters. This AT&T TV service could just basically be a cable package streamed online with the same kind of issues, maybe a device rental, maybe you have to buy the device from them, maybe there's a contract, maybe not, we'll have to wait and see. But to me, if it has a contract and you have to use their device, it doesn't sound like very much of a cord cutting service to me. It seems more like a different way to deliver cable with the same entrapments of cable of the past. I'd love to know though, what do you think of that? Do you agree that this is more of a cable package service, or does it sound like a cord cutting service that you would be interested in? To me, honestly, we'll probably have to wait and learn more about this before we could really tell for sure. So that's it for today. I hope you have a fantastic 5th of July. I know a lot of people are taking today off. Hope you have a great weekend and be safe out there. It's a beautiful hot summer weekend here in Texas. I'm hoping to enjoy it. And I'll see you on Monday back for our next cord cutting today. And don't forget, on Saturday is our Cord Cutting This Week weekly recap. So check us out there. And we'll try to get to even some Sunday videos now with tips, tricks. So keep your eye on the channel, ring that notification bell if you haven't so you don't miss any of our great videos. Take care, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. Don't forget to let me know what you did on your 4th of July. I'd love to hear from you.